beautiful friends, it's Amanda and my bare face here, and I'm just going to bring you along as I get ready for a little St. Patrick's Day date night. So of course we're going to be going with some green makeup. First, I'm just putting on this Maybelline 4-in-1 Glow. I have been loving this under any foundation or tinted moisturizer. It just gives that perfect amount of lit from within glow. And I have very dry skin, so I will take any amount of extra glow and hydrated, juicy skin look that I can get. I find that this works particularly well with this Ulta Beauty Complexion Crush foundation that I have also really been hooked on since I hauled it. Since this is a night out, a little bit more glamorous type of look for me, I am going for more coverage than I typically do on a day-to-day basis, and this Complexion Crush foundation gives me a great coverage, especially when I blend it in with this Real Techniques Expert Face brush. But it still feels really comfortable, and especially paired with that Maybelline product, it still looks very natural, glowy, and just not heavy and cakey like foundations tend to feel, at least for me personally. I like to go back and just sort of tap everything down with my fingertips too, just for a perfect seamless blend. And I am going to be combining two different concealers here. The ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer is one of my favorites. I've gone through at least half a dozen of these. I love it so much. It's the perfect match for me. It's got just the right amount of sort of medium buildable coverage. And then I'm adding a little bit of this Ulta Beauty Youthful Glow Concealer just to add some of that hydrated look and just give me a little bit more glowy finish to my concealer. I'm using an e.l.f. brush to blend this in. This is my favorite concealer brush aside from just using my fingers to blend in. And I do go back and forth using a little bit of a fingertip blending method as well. I just find that that gives me the most natural and seamless finish on my skin particularly. And the next step that I'm going to do is not something I do for my daily wear makeup, but again, this is a night out. This is a little bit more of a glam look. So I am going to use a little bit of a setting powder on my face. This has been a long time favorite of mine. It's the MAC Mineralize Skin Finish Natural, and I use the shade medium. I do think this runs really light because I do tend to be more of a fair light as far as complexion products go, but the medium matches me perfectly. So if this is something you're interested in, keep in mind this powder does run quite light. I love the way that this looks like such a real skin-like finish. It doesn't ever look powdery on my skin, so that's why it's my favorite, my go-to. Next, I'm going to do a little bit of bronzing. I do want to add some warmth and some structure back to the face because I am wearing a lot more coverage than I typically do. This is the Huda Glowish bronzer. I use the shade Light, and I am just doing a pretty gentle, soft application here. I'm going to keep the face pretty simple because I really want the emphasis to be on this bold green eyeshadow look that I'm going to do. Now, with that being said, I am going to still manage to wear two different blushes, but you know, I'm a blush girl, so I'm going to start with a cream blush first. This is the Persona Dreamstick Cream Blush in the shade Teddy. This is such a warm, neutrally type of color, and I like this as a base for a baked blush just because I feel like it helps the blush last longer. And since I'm going to be out on the town, blush is always the first thing that disappears for me, so I like this layering technique for a longevity of that blush color. On top, I'm using the MILANI Baked Blush in the shade Petal Primavera. These two colors work so nicely together for a little glowy type of flush, but it looks very natural. It's not like a bold pop of blush, although I do love that type of look too. Now I'm going to do a little bit of this Rare Beauty highlighter. I'm using the shade Mesmerize, and I'm just adding a little bit here because that baked blush has a bit of glow to it as well. Now it's time to get these brows in order. This is my recent favorite brow combo, my long loved ColourPop brow pencil in the shade dark brown to just fill in any gaps and really just define my natural brow. Then I'm going to go over that with the NYX brow glue, also in the shade dark brown. This has been working so well for me. I have some pretty crazy scraggly brow hairs, and this brow glue has been doing a stellar job for me keeping these crazy little brow hairs in order. I'm also going to keep it pretty neutral for my lips as well. I'm going out for dinner and drinks, so I know I'm going to have to touch up my lip color a lot, and I don't want a bold color that's going to be smearing everywhere. And again, I just want something easy that's going to let my eyeshadow be the star of the show. Now let's move on to this eyeshadow I keep talking about that you haven't seen yet. First, priming with my favorite eyeshadow primer. It's the ColourPop Party Proof Primer. I just use the translucent shade, and I've been through a few tubes of this. It just works really well for me. Now going into my beloved Flora Story palette, my collaboration palette with ODEN'S, and I'm using the shade Shroom. I use this shade all the time. It's just my perfect transition neutrally blending shade for the crease, and I'm also adding that just a little bit along the lower lash line as well. Just FYI, the Flora Story palette is sold out right now, but it's going to have a final restock on March 25th. It's the last time this palette will be restocked, so if you've had it on your wish list, you know, I'm not here to pressure you and be a salesman too much, but I do want to be very upfront with you. Final restock March 25th. All right, now I'm using the shade Clover. I had to use Clover for a St. Patrick's Day look. It was just no debates. So I'm adding that on top of the Shroom color and really laying it down as sort of my base green. Then I'm going to take that same Clover shade applied with my fingertip, and I'm going to pack it all over the inner part of my eyelid so that I get a really saturated, solid green look with that Clover shadow. And I'm going to layer on top of that one of the ODEN'S singles. This is the shade Lola. It's a really shifty, beautiful multi-chrome shadow, and it just looks so stunning over Clover. No doubt about it, I wanted a really impactful, super shimmery, very, very green eye look. So I'm going to use Sage. This is the deep neutral green from Flora Story, and I'm going to build that up with a small fluffy brush on the outer part of the eye and up into the outer part of the crease so that I can get a little bit of smokiness, a little bit of sultriness, and just really define that outer part of the eye. Then I'm going to use the shade Lush, also from Flora Story, again on my fingertip, and I'm just going to blend together where Lola and Sage meet. I always need more shimmer. I love a really shimmery metallic eye look, and I love the way that this faded from like a yellowy green to a more blue-based green. All the greens. I'm also using a little bit of Best Bud, which is a super pale minty green, right on the inner part of the eye look right there. Just deepening up and blending out a little bit there. And then I'm not doing lashes or liner. I just curled my lashes and did this e.l.f. mascara combo. It's the Big Mood mascara for fluffy volumizing, and then the Lash and Roll, which really lengthens. And I find that these two mascaras work beautifully together, and they really give me a natural but still impactful lash look. That's it for this really quick and easy little get ready with me. I felt great all night. I felt like my makeup held up really well throughout dinner and drinks. I wore this for probably 6 or 7 hours, and when I got home, I felt like it still was in great shape, especially considering I didn't get home until like midnight to wash it off. So I was really happy with how this applied and how it held up throughout the night. I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts on this look and what other types of tutorials and get ready with me type of videos that you want to see on the channel next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! And obviously, I love your face, and I'll see you real soon. Okay, bye!